Hi there. How's it going? Well, I did not do a post this morning or this midday. I yeah, I didn't really know what to say. I was up early today and I've been out birding. I got up at 5:30 this morning, so I've had a fairly long day, and I figured, okay, I'll just do this update here now on the in the evening instead. So anyway, I hope you had a good day, all of you. I've had a very good day today. So I wanted to update you. If you saw the video yesterday, you might have seen that I was holding a bird. Yes, it was a Hornby's Storm-Petrel, a ringed Storm-Petrel, a very unusual bird to see in this neighborhood. It's a seabird. You usually see it like 25 to 30 nautical miles out on the deep sea on our pelagics that we have been doing quite regularly in previous years. Um, but here it was in my parking lot. And so I took it in and waited until it got dark. I got some tips from the people. They have a rehab center for this particular bird. And why is that? Well, it is known at this time of year that a lot of them get lost over Lima, and probably because of light pollution. It's not really known, very little is known about this bird. We don't even know where it breeds. The first confirmed breeding spots for this species, the Hornby Storm-Petrel, ringed Storm-Petrel, was made in Chile in the Atacama Desert, about 70 kilometers inland from the Chilean coast. And those are the only breeding spots known. And this was found in 2017, so very recently. Here in Lima, we don't know where they are, where they breed, right? And it's very common that these younger birds that are not so experienced get lost when they go to sea. Now, I would have to get someone actually to look at my pictures. I will post it later on Pelagics and the Pelagics group to see what they think about this particular bird, because it felt to me that it was not a juvenile. It was a bit worn in the tail. It had a fully grown tail as well. All the feathers were fully grown, so it was not like there was something still growing. It was juvenile, just fledged. Um, Feathers looked fairly fresh on the back, though. But I mean, all the wing um, primaries and the wing feathers, they were all pretty. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say they were torn up, but they weren't fresh, right? So I think it's an old bird. Anyway, so that's unusual because they're mostly young ones that are found, right? And the ringed Storm-Petrel is listed as near threatened, mainly because they don't really know the population, because there's like no way of measuring it. And but the distribution is along the Humboldt Current, so we find it here on the pelagics that we did from Lima further south as well up to northern Chile, and the Arica area is also a good area to see it. But it's often one of the birds that is missed when you do these pelagics, simply because we don't get far out enough. We have to reach the shelf and beyond most of the times actually to have a chance to see it. And if we have a little bit of sea, well, that may be difficult. So, and regarding pelagics, I know a lot of people are interested in our pelagics that we used to do. There are no pelagics happening now in Lima. On demand, we have organized them from Paracas, but I have yet to see during the 5-6 pelagics that we've done from Paracas, and that's like 250 kilometers south of Lima. I have still not seen the ring Storm-Petrels on these pelagics, right? So it's not a bird that is guaranteed by any means on the pelagics. I have a pelagic project coming up eventually when this COVID-19 thing is rolled over, so you will be hearing more about that. And I'm thinking of setting up a pelagic setup further south, and then try to be where the birds are rather than trying to go out from here. It's hard to get out far enough from Lima, and the boats are quite small, so they're very dependent on the conditions, right? Now, having that said, we don't get super waves like, South Africa's Cape is quite famous for having a lot of rough sea. We don't get that severe sea here usually, but sometimes there is the port can be closed because of the height of the waves. Basically, that makes it hard to get in and out of the boats, and usually on the open sea, it's not that much of a problem. It's just when we get wind that it's which is not that common, but it was still sometimes if we get wind, then we get a lot of spray and so forth, and it makes it much harder to go out. And we never take any risks. So if there's like a yellow flag in the prognosis, we don't go out basically, and that would be conditions that they may go out in South Africa. Fortunately, that is pretty rare. So within a year or so, I hope to get this project going. I'm thinking of doing some sort of fundraising for it, like like between friends and so forth, to get clients to chip in, maybe like short-term loans or something like that. So it's an idea anyway. We'll see how that works. All right, so what other updates do I have? Well, COVID-19, I talked yesterday to a guy who lives in Puerto Maldonado. His name is Lucho, and he has an adventure eco lodge just next to Puerto Maldonado, and which is Eco Aventuras is the name of it. And that's a great spot, even though it's not made primarily for bird watching. It's still a fantastic bird watching spot. He has like zigzag heron there on his property, and you get I think it was pheasant cuckoo, was it? No, pavonine cuckoo, I think we got there during, and lots of night birds in that area. And there's a little macaw lick that very close by to there, which often has, most of the time has blue-headed macaw. A great area to birdwatch. And he was telling me yesterday that the situation in Puerto Maldonado is horrible. People are, the hospital is full, and people are trying to get to Cusco, and they don't want them in Cusco because in Cusco they also have problems. They don't want any people coming from Puerto Maldonado. And so he's saying that the people in Puerto Maldonado have not complied to the distancing rules, etc. And it's a pretty serious situation. Meanwhile, here in urban Lima, sort of the more, should I say, posh areas of Lima, well, the middle-class residential areas of Miraflores, San Isidro, San Borja, Barranco, etc., we're all allowed now to mobilize 3 kilometers and during a limited period of time for recreation. And that recreation can include running, tai chi, as I mentioned, or you're not allowed to play a soccer game, or so. But people started surfing again, for instance. Lima is very popular for surfing. I met a lot of surfers on my run. So I figured, as I mentioned on these earlier podcasts, that I could do some bird watching during this time as well. So I've had my first bird watching meeting this morning, and that's why I was up early at 7 o'clock. And I had one person coming. Now that may seem like it's probably not worth it, right? But here's the point. So I'm doing this like every day. I'm changing the park, and I'm asking the people that signed up for this group, the sort of residential Lima birding group for beginners, bird watching for beginners group. to actually tell me where they live, and then we go bird watching in their park. So rather than having them coming to a park that I tell them that I know is good, they will tell me what park is next to them, and I will change different parks every day. And tomorrow we're set for another park in San Borja, and I think there's like 3 people already signed up. So that's good. And little by little, I guess this way I can sort of build a small public that may be interested in taking other shorter excursions that are paid for later on, right? That's the idea. These 1-hour excursions are free, so I'm not charging anything for that. I do accept a tip if I get one, but otherwise it's free. And I also rent binoculars for those that don't have. I have a few spare ones, so it's like $2 rent on the binoculars, not even that. But anyway, it's just to incentivize people to come out and look at the birds. But take this idea to heart, you people out there. If you have the opportunity, you could do the same. So the idea is to start a very, very, very local bird a Facebook group that will be the platform from where you promote this birding in the absolute vicinity. You don't even have to have like a famous birding site. It just can be any small little park. This park where I went yesterday is probably not more than, if it's even 2 hectares, I doubt it's 2 hectares, maybe at the most. So it's a very small park, yet we had 15 species there in this little park, right? So this morning. And the way I promote this is that I look for other Facebook groups in that same district, right? So I have neighbors of Miraflores, for instance, or the Lima expat group. And it turned out that I actually got a lot of expats signing up now. So I promoted this group in those groups. So, and since it's for non-profit, at least initially, right? But it doesn't cost anything to be in the group anyway, right? So, and it's just to get more people into the birding. But so far I haven't had any admins of the group saying that, this doesn't fit into what we're doing here. So if the group talks about Miraflores, this is something that should be promoted, right, within the group. And so you can get a lot of free promotion for the group that you're trying to get going this way. And it's also a fantastic way for birding clubs. I mean, it's one of the recipes that I mentioned in my big talk about what birding clubs can do. Get as local as you can. So now I'm doing this not for a birding club, but rather for my business, if I will be able to get some Peruvian clients when the domestic travel is opening up, maybe for weekends, and maybe we can take people down to Satipo Road. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So that's that about that. And finally, I mentioned the other day that I started a Patreon page, patreon.com/birdingperu, and it's been a huge success. I don't think anyone has actually looked at it even. But have a go at that if you think some of this stuff that I'm providing here in these talks and with my music and blogs, etc., that I've been doing in my webinars, if that has any value for you, please consider supporting with the Patreon. It's 3 different ranges, $3. It's just like the tip box per month. $10, yeah, then you're a true fan. And then the $100, I'm not expecting you to give me $100. No, those $100 will be a deposit for your future trip. All right. So help us out here a little bit, and we'll get going. Credit card is due to pay on on next week. I'm getting pretty desperate. It doesn't show, but yeah, it's a big chunk that needs to be paid next week. There you go. All right, have a good night, everyone. I'll try to come back tomorrow on my Facebook profile at around 12 to 1 p.m. And I cannot do any live things because I haven't paid my phone bill. So I don't have any data when I'm out on the streets anymore and other things that happens. So I'll have to do that. I have to do the live broadcast from inside for the time being. So at between 12 and 1 on the profile, and then at around the same time, between 8 and 9 o'clock on my Colibri Expeditions Facebook page. So see you tomorrow. Have a good night, everyone. Take care.